Hi guys, and what's up? Welcome to this new video. Today we are looking at the already 5-year-old FX6 and the already 4-year-old FX3, and if they are still worth it in 2025, I can say so far they are. I think it's no exaggeration when we say that these two cameras revolutionized the market when they came out, especially the FX3 with its form factor and its small footprint, but also I have to say you don't have to overlook it. The FX6 isn't that big as well. If you rig it without a V-mount or without the top plate and a monitor and stuff, it's actually not that big. So on a gimbal or something else, you can also run it very in a lightweight package, so I would just say. In comparison, there you can see it right now, it is sure indeed bigger than the FX3, but I have to say I like it that it's not that heavy as a big cinema camera. For instance, I owned the Ursa 12K and also the G2. Man, these things were heavy. With a big V-mount, with a accessory plate and stuff like that, it became very heavy. And I have to say I like shooting with this package a lot because it has a nice weight for shooting handheld, but also it isn't too heavy when working without an easy rig or stuff like that. It's not the thing that the FX3 is much more lightweight in any cases. I mean, yes, if you build it like this without a V-mount, but I have to say I also use it sometimes with an extension for V-mount, then it's almost the same size and weight as the FX6 is. So I tell you my two use cases for these two cameras. The FX6 is for me some kind of handheld or sticks camera. So I also use it a lot on an easy rig, especially with this kind of accessory, I would say. I use the FX6 always with this cage system from Tilta. With V-mounts, I like to power everything from this battery plate if I have transmission systems or my monitor or something like this. So this is some kind of my A camera and big setup, and where this little bad boy comes to shine is when I need to be faster, run and gun type of work, and also especially for rigging in tight spaces. It's much easier to mount an FX3 like a bird's view or overhead on a C-stand or something like this than running a FX6 on a C-stand and you tilt it straight down. So I have to say I like the versatility of the FX3 when it comes to mounting and rigging options. So these are my experience in case of rigging or body style or this whole weight theme. I would say if we look into the similarities these two cameras have, I guess it's obvious they share the same sensor, full frame, up to 120 FPS 4K. So I don't know what it is, but I recognized when I put these two cameras side by side in Resolve, the footage of the FX6 looks a bit better. So I don't know why. On paper it's the same sensor, but it looks a bit better. Maybe it's something how it handles the codecs or something. I don't know. If you know it, write me down in the comments. I'm curious. I have to say when it comes down to ISO performance, they share the same performance, but I have to say I like to stick with the base ISO on every camera. It doesn't matter which brand it is. In this case it's 800 and 12,800, but I almost never use it in 12,800 because I try to light the scene that I don't have to use it. Otherwise, if you have to use 12,800, you need to overexpose a bit and bring it down in post. Otherwise, the shadows and the midtones, especially the midtones, will start to crush a bit. Another difference for sure is the built-in ND system on the FX6, which I like a lot. I have to say the variable ND is a game changer and I use it almost every shoot. What I don't use that much is the ND auto function, but I think it's nice to be there, but I have to say I never used it. On the other side, the FX3, no internal ND, but I think that's the compromise of having such a small body that you can't build an ND in there. So, but I have to say I'm not bothered that much with it, because I see this camera always in a different use case than this. For an A camera, proper A camera, I have to say I really enjoy having internal NDs, but this isn't a deal breaker on the FX3, I have to say. So there are workarounds, especially when shooting anamorphic. It's not mounted right here, but it's mounted here. You can stick the ND inside, and that's fine for working with anamorphics or with normal lenses. And even anamorphics, you can just throw on your normal ND and you're good to go. So if we look into the future-proof thing of these two cameras, I have to say straight right out of my thoughts, these cameras will last a long time in the cinema or film or content world, because they are still, in my opinion, up to date when it comes to codecs, performance, build quality, image quality. They are so flexible on set, and even for content, and even for big productions. So I mean, I see there's no reason to say these cameras are old or outdated or whatever. I would even say they have been updated over the time, always to stay on top of the line. I'm sure there will be an FX6 Mark II or an FX3 Mark II. For daily shooting, these two cameras just are workhorses. They work and they work and they work. So I have no complaints about them. It's easy to work with. I have to say I like the menu more on the FX6 than the FX3. It's a little bit more user-friendly, but Sony menus, we all know that, right? Especially when coming from working with Blackmagic cameras, and I still work with Blackmagic cameras. It's sometimes, especially on the FX3, where I find myself, where's this and where's that, but you get used to it. But if we compare it to cameras like the Red Komodo or the new Pixels from Blackmagic, there are some differences in resolution, yes, but I have to say we are all still working in this 4K workspace, so I don't think that's a huge bummer that these cameras are not 6K or 8K or whatever. So I think a decent, nice 4K downsampled image is much more valuable than an 8K with huge data rates and stuff. I experienced this a lot when working with the 12K Ursa. Images are awesome, but the data files are just huge. And of course, these two cameras aren't flawless. So when I look at the FX6 side, I would say I'm missing that 3.5mm jack. And when it comes to the audio department, and we all know that this camera has an audio without the audio handle, so you need to shoot with it to make it work. I still don't get it that they didn't find place to have a normal audio jack for 3.5mm, but it is what it is. Maybe in the next version. The thing is, on the FX3 audio top handle, they managed it. There you have your your input 3, which is the 3.5mm jack. So I don't know if maybe the Sony engineers will fix it in the next version. But that's also a thing. I like that the FX3 comes also with these top handle for audio. It's very handy. But most of the time when using the FX3, I use the 3.5mm jack, which is on the left side of the camera. So that's also fine for me. So when it comes to differences, we all know that the FX6 has no IBIS, so there's no image stabilization. The FX3 has indeed internal stabilization, but I have to say I'm not missing that too much on the FX6. For some people I already heard that's a bummer, So, but I have to say I always use it on some kind of stabilization system. Is it a gimbal or a tripod, or even if I try to go handheld, I have to say it's fine for working in my conditions at least. And if you want to be on the safe side and you shoot a lot of handheld and you're always on the content side, maybe the FX3 is a nice choice with its image stabilization. But as I said, it's not a huge deal breaker for me that the FX6 has no internal stabilization. So on the FX6 side, it's the audio problem which bothers me sometimes, but I have to say in general it's a very awesome camera to use. Still, if it's already 5 years old, but if you look at other cameras like Arri, they didn't change anything at all for over 10 years. So I think this camera is still that great that it will last for years, even from today. And the same thing is for the FX3. So I would say these two cameras have some similarities, but also some differences. But they differ more from body style than with the creative solutions you get with them. In the end, it's awesome to have this as an A camera and this as some kind of B camera. They can match perfectly. And as I said, the riggable options of the FX3 especially is just amazing to have that, to throw it onto a gimbal, then just throw it from the gimbal onto a car mount or stuff. I like the versatility a lot. So what's your opinion on these two cameras? Are they still worth it in 2025? For me, they are more than enough, and I have to say it's much more important that you use these as tools, what they are made of, and not only looking for the next 8K, 12K, whatever K monster. These cameras are so capable, you can do such amazing things with it. Keep in mind, you are the navigator of these tools, you are the captain of the ship. You need to set the lights, you need to navigate the crew, you need to get your creative ideas into action. So, and it doesn't matter if it's a Canon, a Blackmagic, a Sony, whatever camera. Even 10-year-old cameras can serve you well. And I know tech is cool, tech is great, tech evolves, but I'm sure that even the next cameras of these two will have some slightly better specs, but these specs won't make you a better filmmaker or whatever. You need to go out, you need to shoot and be creative. That's the most important thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe you could get some information out of it. I'm curious to know. Let me know in the comments, and see you the next time. Ciao, ciao.